you ever heard of a frog that dreamed of being a king and then became one? That was him. He was the big Sapo. I can see him and feel him now, proudly blasting the song with a confident grin back when he was driving his Prevost bus on the many, many adventures we went on. Neil Diamond played exclusively for breakfast, lunch, and dinner over and over. And at the time, I couldn't see or feel his proud, confident grin. He wanted me to feel with him the way he felt, excited, but at the time, I just kept asking him, could we please just listen to something else than Neil Diamond? No, was his answer. One time on an adventure in the bus, I tried to get Neil Diamond off the stereo. I was driving. This was not common because it was difficult for him to relinquish that control. And a good friend of mine was sitting in the passenger side captain chair. And of course, we were listening to Neil Diamond. I kept asking him if I could play some music that I would like to play. I said, come on, I'm driving. I should be able to play some music that Dave and I would like to hear. It took a long time of what I thought was negotiation. And finally, he got tired of me asking and said, okay, fine. So I got excited and removed the worn-out cassette. You could hardly read the songs on it anymore. And I put in Metallica. And as my friend and I felt like rock stars starting to bob our heads with the music, I think it lasted about 1 minute. My father walked up between us, standing tall and serious, brandishing his .45 caliber pistol on the side by his thigh. He just looked at me and said something like, turn that God-forsaken mental vomit crap off my stereo right now. And he didn't move. And I very, very slowly ejected the cassette and put Neil Diamond back in. And I never asked again. That was my father. He liked what he liked and wasn't going to waver. He would tell me, hey, you don't have any skin in the game. When you do and it's yours, you can make the call. He also told me at times when I tried to exert my thoughts, ideas, or decisions about anything that was his, he'd say, when I'm dead and gone, you can make the decisions around here. Until then, he was a badass who didn't take any crap from anyone, but at the same time, he had an enormous, generous, playful heart. He always focused on the journey and never the outcome. He didn't ever talk about money, unless it was at dinner, and he said he didn't have any money and you had to buy. I know somebody called him alligator arms because he couldn't reach the check. But that wasn't the truth. That was his playful heart wanting to mess with you, and most of the time, he was paying. He just wanted you to feel like he wasn't going to pay, and then when you were about to pay, he would say, get out of here, I'll buy. You know I was going to buy. And when you were confused, he would just look at you and say, you're never going to win because you don't have enough experience yet to understand. He placed himself front and center and had no shame about it. He was not one to give up the wheel, the TV remote, or being first in line to get food. Growing up, we were like brothers fighting over who was going to get the first pork chop from my mom. My dad loved creating stories through adventure, and most of all, he wanted to be the main character. As good as he was behind the camera, he was just as good hamming it up in front and making everyone laugh. My father's childhood was difficult. He was a very smart and rambunctious child growing up in the 1950s. He learned a lot about raising animals, taking direction, and hard work on his Uncle Walter's farm. He first met my mom when she was in 7th grade and he was a freshman. They liked each other. They were on different ends of the scale. In their hometowns of LaSalle, Peru, Illinois, there was a couple well-known hangouts. My mom's was the Igloo Drive-In, Bobby Socks and Poodle Skirts. My dad's was the Robin Hood, white t-shirts and rolled-up cigarettes and sleeves. My dad's father was killed in an automobile accident when my dad was 12 years old. However difficult his father's discipline affected him, After his father's passing, his rambunctious nature was enchained. The pastors and the nuns believed in him and tried to help guide him. Very soon afterwards, he got in trouble and was sent to a boys' disciplinary school in Pennsylvania. After he got out, he came back to his home base, LaSalle, Peru. Shortly afterwards, he got in trouble again and went in the Marines. He was front and center with his companions in the Marines, exactly where he liked to be. Shortly after being discharged from the Marines, he married my mom, and I was born. In my formative years, I remember my dad professing some wisdom to me. He told me about the bear in the woods. He said, you have your bare hand that you have to use to put food on the bare plate and work to put clothes on your bare ass and afford good shoes on your bare feet to take you great places. He loved his family and loved interacting with everyone in his entire family. He was an intensely hardworking man that could produce immense results. He was always proud telling me stories of his concrete finisher production capabilities and the way he went about producing those results. As a family, when I was in 3rd grade, we moved from Peru to Lombard, Illinois. His hard work became recognized in road construction, and some years later he started his own business out of the back room of our house in Lombard. I remember going to the bus stop in the morning and there would be 10 cars parked in front of our house and the neighbors' houses. They were all his employees waiting to get direction to go to work. He built that construction company into a successful venture that afforded him many luxuries. He always tried to give back, and many kids thought he was Santa Claus. Almost every year, my dad and I went on amazing trips together and amassed a wonder of memories. Even though at times it became treacherous, we always found our bond of love. I respected him and he respected me. I know now the lessons I've learned have made me him and him me. My dad's concern, care, and compassion for my mom was unbreakable. They were together for 59 years and they did whatever it took. They built it all together. And we're an amazing team. My father's type A+++ personality caught up with him, and the pressures of being a road construction contractor brought a heart attack at 49 years old. His doctor told him to relax. He didn't listen. And 2 weeks later, he said to me, come on, get your friend, let's go to the Florida Keys in the bus. He wanted out of the pressure of road construction and moved on to software development and then high-performance race cars. He was a pioneer in every business and created innovations that were at the forefront of development that brought amazing results. It was difficult to watch his decline, but every time he was in the hospital, he didn't show you his discomfort. Instead, he joked about you, made you laugh, and the nurses laugh, and made funny faces while giving you the finger. For all he had been through, we always said it was amazing how he lived to be 82 years old. The picture on the screen was the last night he was here in this world. I came home from the ICU and took this picture in my backyard. I can see him in it. After he passed on, there have been many spiritually connected moments. Around 4 days after he passed, I was starting to go through pictures, slides, hard drives, looking for anything I could find with my dad in it. I was in my office and went in my very well organized closet. One entire side is a bookcase with everything in its place. I looked, and this book was pulled out 3/4 of the way. For my son. It was given to me when I went to school in 1993. My dad wrote in it to me, to Studley Pumpkin, thank God you are my son. I truly have been blessed. Ask not what your dad can do for you, but what you can do for your dad. Love, Dad. I feel good knowing that I have, and I do this in honor of you, Dad. last things to say. All of the pictures today were taken by my father, and the music is from open CDs he frequently listened to on his desk. My father always wanted to have a booth at an art festival showcasing his pictures. The magnetic pictures on all these boards are here for you to take at the end of the celebration in remembrance of Big Ron. Please take only one. Otherwise, he'll charge me for it later. The recorded buttons are there to take two at the end of the celebration. My father's Wild Side will be shown 3 songs after the video I'm going to play next. He is Wooly Bully. I knew my dad was in decline many years ago. When I first heard this song I'm going to play, I cried, thinking about the reality and inevitability of his passing. I've listened to it for years, crying to myself, thinking of how someday I would be at this moment.
The woods look to the moon, and the ocean to the sky. I've looked to you my whole life. Now I have to say goodbye, but to say that I've lost you is a selfish thing to say. I've never seen nothing as beautiful as watching you slip away. To see you go in the arms of your angels, than to say